There are moments in life when we find ourselves looking at the world, asking the question, why am I here? What is my purpose? How did I get to this point and where am I going? We go through trials, face challenges, experience pain, and yet still wonder, what is the purpose of all of this? It's easy to feel lost in a world full of distractions, disappointments, and doubt. But what if I told you that everything you have gone through, every moment, every twist and turn, every tear you've shed has been part of a larger, grander design, one that has been set out specifically for you? And what if I said that the things you faced are not accidents, but are a part of a divine plan that has been orchestrated for your growth, your elevation, your ultimate victory? Yes, there is a plan, a design, a purpose that is not just God has crafted a plan for you, and he has been guiding your steps, even when you didn't recognize it. The beauty of God's plan is that it is uniquely yours. It isn't a generic plan. It's tailored to you. It has been designed with every detail of your life in mind. From the very moment you were conceived, God already knew the purpose he had for your life. He formed you with a destiny, one that goes beyond your immediate circumstances, beyond the battles you're fighting today. When you begin to understand that God is intentional about every single detail of your life, something begins to change. You stop looking at your struggles as interruptions and start seeing them as part of the process. It's hard to see this when you're in the midst of adversity, isn't it? When you're going through the storm, it's easy to think that there is no way out, that your situation is hopeless, that your dreams will never be realized. But I want you to know this: every challenge is a stepping stone to where God is taking you. Every setback is setting you up for something greater. The Bible tells us that all things work together for good to those who love God, to those who are called according to his purpose. This means that no matter what you face, no matter what you've lost, no matter what you're going through right now, it's all part of the grand design. The things that look like setbacks, the moments when you felt like you were falling behind, are all in alignment with the plan that God has for you. There are moments when the journey feels long, when it feels like the promises of God are far away. You may wonder if you'll ever reach the place that has been promised to you, if your dreams will ever come to fruition. But I want to remind you today, you are not alone in this journey. God is with you every step of the way. And he is not just with you, he is actively working in your life to bring his plan into fruition. He is perfecting you in the process, refining your character and building your faith. God doesn't operate on our timetable. And that's something we have to come to terms with. We want things to happen now, but God knows the right time for everything. He is the master of timing, and he knows exactly when to open doors and when to close them. He knows when to push you forward and when to hold you back for a season. The moments of waiting are not moments of inactivity. While you wait, God is working in you. He's building your strength, preparing your heart, and making sure that when the time comes for you to step into your purpose, you are ready. God's plan is always in motion, even when you don't see the evidence of it. The good news is that his plan for you doesn't depend on your past mistakes or failures. Too often we disqualify ourselves because of things we've done, decisions we've made, and things we've left undone. But God does not judge you based on your past. In fact, he is more interested in your future than in your past. The very things that you think disqualify you are the things that God will use to elevate you. His grace is greater than your mistakes, and his mercy is deeper than your failures. God's plan is not thwarted by your imperfections. He has a way of using every part of your life, the good, the bad, and the ugly, to work together for his purpose in your life. Sometimes when you look at your life, it feels like pieces of a puzzle scattered everywhere. You can't see the bigger picture. But God sees it all. He has every piece of your life in his hands, and he's putting it together in the way that only he can. You might be struggling to make sense of it all, but I promise you that when the puzzle is complete, it will be a masterpiece. You might not understand why things are happening the way they are, but trust me when I tell you that it's all going to come together in the end. God doesn't waste anything. Every experience, every lesson, every encounter, it all has a purpose. Now, I want you to understand that the plan God has for your life is not just about what you do, but about who you become. It's not just about the accomplishments you achieve or the titles you carry. It's about your transformation. God is more interested in shaping your character, growing your faith, and developing your heart than he is in your earthly success. You can be successful in the world's eyes and still be empty inside, but when you align your life with God's plan, he will fill you with peace, joy, and purpose that surpasses anything this world can offer. There are people out there who are waiting for you to step into your purpose. Your life is not just about you. It's about the people you'll impact, the lives you'll touch, and the way your story will inspire others. When you walk in your God-given purpose, you become a light to others, showing them that with God, all things are possible. Your journey is not just for your own benefit, it's for the benefit of the people who will be blessed by your obedience to God's call on your life. The road to fulfilling God's plan isn't always easy. There will be obstacles, there will be roadblocks, and there will be times when you want to give up. But I want to encourage you to keep going, to keep trusting, to keep believing. You are closer than you think. The breakthrough you've been praying for is just around the corner. The promise is coming to pass, and when it does, you will look back and realize that every struggle, every challenge, every tear was worth it. Sometimes the greatest victories come after the greatest battles. The enemy wants to discourage you, to make you feel like your dreams are unattainable, like the promises of God are just a fairy tale. But don't buy into that lie. God's promises are true, and his word will never fail. If he said it, he will do it. What God has started in your life, he will finish. His plan for you is bigger than anything you could have imagined, and it is unfolding right now, step by step. God's design for you is a masterpiece. It's more than just a destination. It's a journey of becoming who you were always meant to be. So don't rush the process. Don't look around at what others are doing and compare yourself. Trust that God is working in your life. Trust that he is leading you exactly where you need to go. Your purpose is unfolding, and you are right on time. The plan is bigger than you can see, but if you continue to trust, continue to walk by faith, and continue to believe, you will step into a future that is greater than anything you could have imagined. So when life gets tough, when the road seems long, remember that God is designing something beautiful with your life. You are part of a plan that is unfolding, and every step you take brings you closer to the incredible purpose he has for you. Keep trusting the process. God has a plan, and it's for you. Every individual has a purpose that has been intentionally designed by God. Your life, with all its ups and downs, is part of a greater plan, and each experience shapes you for the destiny you're meant to fulfill. Life's obstacles and setbacks are not interruptions to your journey. They are essential parts of God's design to refine your character, build your faith, and prepare you for the future he has planned for you. God's timing is perfect even when we don't understand it. While we may face delays or detours, every step is a part of the greater plan. Trusting the process means trusting that God is working all things together for your good. God's plan for your life is something deeply personal, something crafted with every intricate detail of who you are. From the moment you were conceived, God had a purpose for you. Your life is not an accident. And every experience, whether good or bad, is part of the greater design he has for you. This plan is not generic. It is uniquely tailored to you. It reflects who you are becoming, and the people whose lives you will touch along the way. It's easy to get caught up in the noise of the world and the expectations others place on us. We often look at others' paths and wonder if we're on the right one, if we're making the right choices, or if we're falling behind. However, it's crucial to understand that God's plan for your life doesn't look like anyone else's. You have a distinct purpose, and this purpose was written for you long before you were born. God's plan is not shaped by the opinions of others, or by the trends of the world. It's not dictated by the expectations society places on us, and it's certainly not limited by the narrow view of success the world often promotes. God's plan is expansive, divine, and intricately designed to align with the calling He has placed on your life. Your journey might look different from others, but that doesn't mean it's any less significant. When you truly begin to grasp the fact that your life is designed by God, something powerful happens. You stop trying to fit into molds or follow paths that others have laid out. Instead, you embrace the unique journey He set before you, knowing that it leads you to a place only you were meant to go. This plan for your life is about more than your actions. It encompasses who you are on the inside. It's about the development of your character, the cultivation of your heart, and the transformation of your mind. God isn't only concerned with where you end up, but with who you become on the way there. Life is not just about the destination, it's about the process that shapes you. Every decision, every trial, every victory is refining you for the next phase of your purpose. You may not understand why certain things happen or why certain people come and go, but rest assured, God is weaving it all together for the unique story of your life. There are times when we doubt this plan. We question if we're good enough, if we've made the right decisions, or if we've wasted too much time. We compare ourselves to others who seem to have their lives together, and we begin to feel like we've missed the mark. But comparison is one of the greatest thieves of purpose. When we compare ourselves to others, we lose sight of the fact that God's plan for us is different. The seasons of our lives do not unfold on the same timeline, and there's no need to rush ahead or feel as if we've fallen behind. God's plan unfolds in His perfect timing, and your story is unfolding exactly as it should. There's no need to measure yourself by someone else's success or journey. God is working in your life, and He will bring everything to fruition when the time is right. We also need to understand that God's plan for us doesn't mean a life free of hardship. In fact, sometimes His plan includes moments of difficulty that seem to contradict the idea of a good, loving God. But these challenges are not indications that we are off the path. In reality, they are often part of God's design to refine us and prepare us for something greater. The struggles we face are not signs of failure, but of growth. When we go through hardship, we build resilience, faith, and endurance. We may not see it in the moment, but these struggles are shaping us into the person God knows we need to be in order to fully step into His purpose for us. God's plan for you is far beyond anything you could imagine. When we live out the life that God has uniquely planned for us, we begin to see that His dreams for us far exceed our own. Sometimes we can only see a few steps ahead, and that's okay. We don't need to see the entire path laid out in front of us in order to move forward. Trusting God with our journey means trusting that He is leading us exactly where we need to go. He knows the beginning from the end, and He has already walked ahead of us to clear the way. When you embrace the uniqueness of God's plan for your life, you begin to realize that your value is not determined by your circumstance. The world may try to tell you that your worth is based on your success, your career, or how much money you make, but none of that defines you. Your value is in the fact that you are God's creation, designed with purpose and intention. The challenges you face, the paths you choose, and the ways you grow, these all contribute to the unique story that God is telling through your life. God's plan for you isn't just about you. It's about the people whose lives you will touch, the ways you will inspire others, and the impact you'll make on the world. When you follow the path God has laid before you, you become a light for others, showing them the way to their own purpose. The beauty of embracing God's unique plan for your life is that you not only grow into who you are meant to be, but you also become a blessing to others along the way. Your journey will inspire people who are watching you, even if you don't realize it. Your faith, perseverance, and obedience to God's call will speak volumes to those around you. The key is to remain faithful and obedient, even when things don't make sense. The road may not always be smooth, But you can trust that every twist, every turn, and every detour is a part of the bigger picture that God is creating. There are no detours in God's plan. Every step you take brings you closer to your destiny. You might not see the full picture right now, but trust that God sees it all. He is working all things together for your good, even in the moments when you feel lost or uncertain. When you understand that God's plan for your life is unique, it gives you the freedom to walk in your own shoes, to be who you are meant to be, and to fulfill your own purpose. You don't have to copy someone else's path or measure yourself against others. God's plan for you is about being faithful in your own journey, regardless of what others are doing or what they might think. You are enough just as you are, and the path you walk is just as valuable as anyone else's. As you move forward, remember that God is leading you every step of the way. His plan is unfolding in your life, and every moment is part of his purpose. Keep trusting in his timing and know that he is shaping you for something beautiful. No matter what you've been through, no matter what lies ahead, God's plan for you is unique and perfect for you. You are exactly where you need to be, and you are becoming exactly who you were meant to be. In life, challenges are an inevitable part of the journey. We often find ourselves caught in moments of struggle, feeling overwhelmed and unsure of how we will overcome the obstacles before us. It is easy to view challenges as setbacks, roadblocks, or even failures. But what if we shifted our perspective and saw these very challenges as stepping stones? What if we understood that these moments of difficulty are not just hindrances to our progress, but vital components of the process that will shape and refine us into the people we are meant to become? Every challenge we face is a chance to grow, to learn, and to become stronger, more resilient, and more capable of stepping into the future God has prepared for us. Challenges are never easy. When you're in the midst of a difficult situation, it can feel like everything is falling apart. You might feel like giving up, like your dreams are slipping further away with every hurdle you encounter. However, challenges are not the end. They are part of the journey. They serve as opportunities for growth that cannot be bypassed. Every challenge forces us to confront our weaknesses and test our strengths. They push us out of our comfort zones and force us to stretch beyond what we thought was possible. Without these challenges, we would remain stagnant, never truly discovering the depth of our potential. When you face challenges, it's natural to feel pain, frustration, and even fear. The emotional weight can feel unbearable, and it may seem like the road ahead is uncertain, but the pain we experience in the midst of challenges is not in vain. It's in these moments that our character is developed. We learn how to persevere, how to stay faithful even when the road gets tough, and how to trust that God is working behind the scenes even when we can't see his hand at work. Challenges teach us lessons that are impossible to learn in times of ease and comfort. They force us to rely on God's strength instead of our own, and to trust that he is in control even when everything around us feels chaotic. One of the most powerful truths about challenges is that they have the ability to shape us into who we are meant to be. When we face difficulties, we are forced to adapt, to find new ways of thinking, and to develop new skills. The discomfort we experience in these moments becomes the very catalyst for our transformation. The Bible reminds us that we are being transformed into the same image from glory to glory, 2 Corinthians 3:18. This process of transformation is not always painless. It's through the refining fires of challenges that we are purified, made stronger, and prepared for the next season of our lives. God uses these times of testing to build in us the qualities that will allow us to walk in the fullness of our calling. Think about the way a diamond is formed. A diamond is created under extreme pressure. Without that pressure, it would remain just a piece of coal, unremarkable, and without the beauty it is meant to hold. The same is true for us. The challenges we face are the pressure that forms us into the unique and extraordinary people God intended us to be. What we often fail to realize is that the very things we think are breaking us are actually the things that are shaping us. Every challenge, every hardship, every difficulty, when viewed through the lens of faith, becomes an opportunity to become more like the person God has created us to be. Sometimes challenges come in the form of failure. Failure can be one of the hardest experiences to endure because it makes us question our abilities, our worth, and our purpose. It's easy to internalize failure as something personal, something that defines who we are. But failure is not a permanent state. It is simply a lesson in disguise. Failure teaches us humility, resilience, and perseverance. It helps us learn from our mistakes, adjust our approach, and try again. Some of the greatest successes in life come not from avoiding failure, but from learning to rise again after falling. Think of all the inventors, artists, and entrepreneurs who faced countless failures before achieving success. They didn't allow their setbacks to define them. They used them as stepping stones to push forward. There are also times when challenges come in the form of loss or disappointment. We may lose a job, a relationship, or a dream we once held dear. These losses can leave us feeling empty and unsure of how to move forward. But even in the midst of loss, God is working. He uses times of disappointment to shift our focus, redirect our paths, and help us grow in ways we couldn't have imagined. While it might seem like everything is falling apart, God is positioning us for something better. The loss might feel like a setback, but it's often a setup for something even greater. Our faith is tested in these moments. And it is through this testing that we learn to trust God more deeply, knowing that He holds our future in His hands. In the process of overcoming challenges, we also learn to become more compassionate and understanding of others. When we experience hardship, we gain empathy for those who are walking through similar struggles. Our pain becomes a bridge to connect with others who are hurting, and our story becomes a source of encouragement. The challenges we face are not only about our own growth, but also about how we can serve and support those around us. Through our struggles, we develop a greater sense of community and a deeper understanding of the human experience. We learn to walk alongside others in their pain, offering hope, encouragement, and the knowledge that they too can overcome whatever they are facing. Moreover, challenges help us redefine success. In a world that often measures success by external accomplishments and material wealth, challenges teach us that true success is found in character, in perseverance, and in the depth of our faith. Success is not defined by how many achievements we collect, but by how we handle adversity and how we remain steadfast in our beliefs. The ability to persevere through challenges is the true mark of success. When we stand firm in the face of adversity, trusting that God has a purpose in it all, we are walking in the victory that is promised to us. Our lives become a testimony of God's faithfulness and His ability to carry us through even the toughest times. We must also recognize that not all challenges are the same. Some will come suddenly, without warning, while others may develop over time. Some may be external, financial difficulties, health problems, or relationship struggles, while others may be internal, such as self-doubt, fear, or emotional pain. Regardless of the form they take, challenges require us to grow in different ways. The internal challenges may require us to confront our deepest fears and insecurities, while external challenges may require us to develop new skills or seek help from others. The beauty of these challenges lies in their ability to shape us according to God's purpose, no matter how they manifest. In the end, it is not the challenges themselves that define us, but how we respond to them. When we choose to see challenges as stepping stones rather than stumbling blocks, we open ourselves up to the growth and transformation that God desires for us. These challenges are not there to break us, but to build us. They are opportunities for us to become the people we are meant to be, to step into the fullness of our purpose, and to walk in the victory that God has promised. Life is full of twists and turns, and often it feels like we're navigating through a maze, unsure of which way to go. At times, we may feel like we've been waiting forever for the breakthrough, the promotion, the relationship, or the success we've been praying for. When things aren't happening as quickly as we expect, it's easy to become frustrated, impatient, or even doubtful. We wonder, why isn't this working out? What's wrong with me? Why are things taking so long? The truth is, God's process and timing are not always in sync with our own desires, but trusting the process and His perfect timing is key to stepping into the life He has for us. One of the most difficult aspects of life is accepting that we cannot control everything. We want things to happen now, but we often don't realize that there's a reason behind the wait. The challenge is to trust that God is in control of the timing and that He knows exactly when to bring the right things into our lives. We live in a world of instant gratification where everything is just a click away, but God doesn't work on our schedule. His timing is not just about getting what we want when we want it. It's about molding us into who we need to be to handle the blessings and responsibilities that come with His plans for our lives. Trusting the process means acknowledging that there is a purpose behind every season. Each phase of life, whether it's a season of waiting, a season of preparation, or a season of struggle, has its own value and contributes to the bigger picture. While we may not always understand why things are happening the way they are, God sees the full picture. He understands the trajectory of our lives better than we ever could. And even in the waiting, God is still at work. His plans are unfolding, and each step we take, no matter how small it may seem, is part of His divine design. Trusting the process means surrendering to the fact that we don't always need to know every detail. We don't need to understand everything in order to trust that God's plan is good. God's timing is often very different from our own. We tend to want things to happen immediately or within a certain time frame, but God is not bound by time in the same way we are. His timing is always perfect, even if it doesn't align with our expectations. Just because we don't see the results we're hoping for doesn't mean God is inactive. It may mean He is preparing us, refining us, or positioning us for something greater. Trusting the process involves believing that everything is happening in its right time, even when we can't see the end result. God is not slow to fulfill His promises. Rather, He is perfecting us during the wait, ensuring that we are spiritually, emotionally, and mentally ready for the blessings that are to come. When we talk about trusting God's timing, we often have to confront our own impatience. It's natural to want what we want when we want it, but patience is a fruit of the Spirit that can only be developed in the waiting. Patience is not just about biding time. It's about trusting that God's plan is unfolding in the right way and at the right time. This requires a shift in mindset from seeing waiting as a period of frustration to viewing it as a season of preparation. When we trust the process, we recognize that we are being shaped, refined, and strengthened in the waiting. This waiting period is not a waste of time. It is a necessary part of God's plan for us. The story of Abraham and Sarah in the Bible is a powerful example of trusting God's timing. God had promised Abraham that he would become the father of many nations, but years went by and they had no children. Abraham was advanced in age and his wife Sarah was barren. From a human perspective, it seemed like a hopeless situation. Yet, God's promise remained. Sarah's faith was tested in the waiting, and there were moments when she doubted. But despite the long wait, God's promise was fulfilled. When the time was right, Sarah bore a son, Isaac. And from that moment on, the descendants of Abraham multiplied, just as God had promised. The process was long and difficult, but in the end, it was perfect in God's timing. Had Abraham and Sarah not waited on God's timing, they might have missed the fullness of His promise. Another powerful example is Joseph, whose life was full of delays and setbacks. Joseph was given dreams that showed him in a position of authority, but those dreams were followed by betrayal, imprisonment, and years of hardship. At every turn, Joseph could have lost faith, but instead he trusted the process. His time in prison was not wasted. It was in that place that he developed the wisdom and character necessary for the role he would eventually play as a ruler in Egypt. God used his years of waiting to prepare him for the position He had designed for him. When the time came, Joseph was not only promoted, but he was also in a position to save many lives during a time of famine. Joseph's story reminds us that even when we don't understand why things are happening the way they are, God is always working behind the scenes, and his timing is perfect. Trusting God's timing requires surrendering control. We often want to take matters into our own hands and make things happen according to our plan. But true trust comes from acknowledging that God is in control, even when things seem uncertain. God's timing is not about convenience, it's about perfect alignment. It's about him positioning us in the right place at the right time so that we are ready for what he has in store. Sometimes we think we know best, but our perspective is limited. God sees the whole picture. He knows what we need and when we need it. Trusting the process means letting go of our own timelines and allowing God to lead us. There will be times when we feel discouraged, when it seems like the waiting is endless, and when it feels like our prayers are going unanswered. In these moments, we must remember that God is faithful. He has not forgotten us, and he is not ignoring our prayers. He is preparing us, strengthening us, and developing our faith. The waiting is not a punishment. It is part of his perfect plan. Just because we don't see immediate results doesn't mean God is not at work. In fact, it is often in the waiting that we grow the most. When we trust God's process and timing, we learn to have peace in the uncertainty. Instead of feeling anxious about the future, we can rest in the knowledge that God is in control. We can trust that he is guiding us, that he has a plan, and that he will bring everything to fruition at the right time. Even when things don't look the way we expected or hoped, we can trust that God's plan is always better than our own. It's easy to lose faith when things aren't happening the way we want, but it's in these moments that our trust in God is most crucial. Trusting the process is not just about waiting. It's about actively believing that God is moving, even when we can't see it. His timing is always perfect, and he will fulfill his promises to us. We may not understand everything now, but we can trust that in time we will see his plan unfold in the most beautiful and unexpected ways. God's process and timing may not always make sense to us, but if we trust in him, we will see that it is always worth the wait. As we trust the process, we become more refined, more prepared, and more equipped for the incredible plans he has for us.